Welcome back to the Nordic Championship, where we are now going to watch Game 2 between Ostersunds FK and the Final Tribe, the two Swedish teams where Ostersunds FK took game number 1 after some, no, sorry, after some crazy things happened.
They were about to
They
take
were
game
talking
number
about
one.
and Final Tribe took game number 1. Like, I'm sorry for that little slip up because that game was simply crazy that I almost forgot who won.
Yeah, there's been a lot of close games and a lot of back and forth today, and ending out in style with Kantas's Baron steal there. Really looking forward to seeing what the solo laners of FK can do now in the second game as we jump into the pick and ban. Look for them to try to get beneficial matchup for Kreis and Adept here.
Absolutely. Adept being the power player, I do not think that he's going to be allowed to play LeBlanc again. He's such a strong player on this champion, and I feel like so much rides on him. Although Raxi was able to intercept him, playing very smart with his Sejuani, knowing exactly what Adept was going to do.
Yeah, I really predicted and got into the mind of Adept there in the second team fight. Sorry, in the last team fight. You also have to say that the vision control for the final try was on top because there was no way for Adept to go around. That's usually what you do want to do in Little Blanc. Get around from the side, go for the flanks when you don't have vision. But TFT always knew where he was on that champion.
Absolutely. Now, Lucian also off the table. We're going to mention the Yasuo you talked about quite a bit, as Yasuo with the changes to Infinity Edge also, again, being very strong, and of course, Unforgiven on the Draven is not something that the Final Tribe wants to face off against.
That's probably a ban, sorry, that we're going to be seeing throughout the tournament, the Draven versus Unforgiven, because it's not something that all AD carry players play, but we know Unforgiven is really strong on it, and you saw what he could do on a strong AD carry when he was playing that Lucian in the first series.
Absolutely. Also, Marcoon, one of the junglers that plays the carry style. Not going to be able to play Cartus this time around. Also, interesting to see that Vaesor will not be able to play the Jace, as he did not have the best lane phase. He fell behind quite a bit, but in the late stages of the game, the Jace was still yet again strong. They allowed him to get back into the game, now giving him the Urgot instead.
Urgot, very strong pick. Could like the Ezreal here for Unforgiven. I actually said that before he picked it, so yeah, I was kind of predicting that.
That was a good prediction, like split-second prediction.
All the honors there for the prediction there. Also, Thresh is still an open pick that we've been seeing a lot of bans coming towards throughout the tournament, so I don't think Thresh would be a bad pick here for either team at all. It's going to be the Scion for Kreis again, though of course it can theoretically be flexed in towards the mid lane for Adept, but it looks like we're going to be seeing Kreis in that tank once more.
Yeah, absolutely. It does not feel like an Adept kind of champion style. Instead, it's the Kreis with the tank top laners, although he has played carry top laners in the past. For this tournament, we have seen him almost exclusively on the Scion, and we've seen him pick up the solo kills. The problem was that as the kind of sole engager for last game, he didn't quite find any opportunities to capitalize on the goal that he got in the early stage of the game.
Yeah, you really need to keep the pressure up if you've got that sort of a composition. Now, with the Ezreal, you've got some better scaling. And tell you what, I would love to see a Sylas lock in here for FK. Yes, they already have a top laner, which makes it a bit worse. But both the Urgot and the Sivir ultimate are so impactful to steal. And we know how strong of a pick Sylas is. So would like to see that getting picked up here, or maybe saving that as a possibility for the second phase. Maybe giving that over towards Adept in the mid lane, because that on the hunt, man, that's quite a good ability.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely something that he can steal on Sylas. Problem is, like, what kind of matchup you're going to go into with that kind of champion, but not something that I expect to be banned either from Final Tribes, or something that definitely could be in the pocket of Ostersunds FK. Dincel, now, of course, as the strong mid lane on the other side, played so well on the ceiling, is going to be up facing the Rise for this game.
Yeah, looking for some strong engaged mid laners here, perhaps, to be able to gap close on the Ryze the Ryze and the Ezreal there. So something like a Lissandra could be strong together with the Sivir ultimate, together with the Urgot and the Thresh. You're going to have a lot of engage, be able to make fights happen pretty much whenever you want. I think Lissandra, she did receive some nerfs on the recent patch, but as we're on 9.3, she's still a very strong pick. Also got to be looking out for the LeBlanc, which is still open for Dincel should he want to go in that direction.
Absolutely, LeBlanc has been left on the table, as it looks like Final Tribe has decided they know how to deal with this champion and aren't too worried about it. Of course, Adept wasn't as strong in last game as he was versus the Finnish team earlier tonight, so maybe that is why they're not too worried about it. Instead, it's going to, of course, be banned by Ostersunds FK, as you do not want to play versus LeBlanc with the Rise. Something I want to talk a little bit more later, of course, is Nightmare now on Thresh, as he played Nami last game and did it fairly well, I would say. At the same time, like, there were a couple of times during the lane phase that he was a little bit questionable, going very aggressively. Maybe Thresh will fit his play style better than the Nami did. I'm interested to see this.
Yeah, I think he did a really good job when it just comes to putting on the pressure, but as you said, that also comes with risks, especially when you're playing that immobile champion. Also got a question of AFK because they burned the Nami's flash level 1 in the laning phase, so that's going to be down for a long time, and immobile, squishy range support, and you were not able to punish that at all. So really looking forward to seeing Marcoon on another carry jungler right here. We know he likes the Cossacks, we know he likes the what is called the Kane.
Yeah,
Both of them are
absolutely.
still open. They are saving jungle pick for last, and I think they're definitely going to go with a carry jungler here to try to get Marcoon in a beneficial matchup.
Absolutely. Same in the jungle pick for Lost. Gonna look and see what Final Tribe are going for and see if Marcoon can snowball them into victory. Double tier build for this game. Triple tier even,
Yep.
actually, with both Ezreal and Rise on the table. This means it's gonna be quite a slow scaling team from Ostersunds FK. So that is something that I'm thinking a little bit about versus this Thresh and Sivir bot lane, Alistar, and of course Ezreal. They're strong in a way that they can disengage. You can, of course, go very aggressively with the Alistar, but Thresh and Sivir should definitely have the early game advantage. And now with the Sejuani final pick, as Raxi was very strong on Sejuani in game 1. I'm looking at this and I like what I see.
Yeah, I like this. Just a very strong mid-game sort of engaged Sivir comp. Just one at the opposing team, but Mark Noon is going to be trying to pick himself in the beneficial matchup in the jungle here up against the Sejuani. I do think Kane is still going to be a strong pick. We saw how good it was into the multiple tanks with the Conqueror, where you were able to shred through that, but instead it's going to be the Jarvan.
Yeah, so Jarvan jungle now for Marcoon keeps going with these aggressive style junglers. Something that he was able to do in game 1 was to get a slight lead going in for a big fight around the buff. Actually getting dragged into a big fight as Raxi was the one to start that off. Marcoon instead tried to go for a level 2 down bot lane. That was when he forced that flash. This is something that Marcoon might be his problem. He goes very aggressively sometimes and kind of, I feel like, is relying on his team and their superior mechanics to power them through these fights, and for that time it worked out well, and then for the rest of the game sometimes I feel like they're biting off quite a bit more than they can chew.
I agree with you there for Marcoon, but I'd also say that kind of goes for both of these teams if you'd have to look at it. Like, just generalizing a lot, I'd say that Östersund is the stronger team mechanically. They've got the better individual players, but TFT showed how smart they were at playing the map. I think the lane assignments were on point for a lot of the time. The calls were decisive. They didn't. I can't really point to a single really strong mechanical play, except maybe interrupting the LeBlanc and stealing the Baron with the true shot barrage, but that's honestly more chance than anything else. So I think they are the smarter team, while Östersund are probably the stronger individual team.
Absolutely, and it's something a little bit weird because looking at Östersund FK, I mean, they have this team behind them, they have this organization behind them, and I would suspect them to practice so much around the teamwork aspect of League of Legends, having a football club backing them up, knowing all that, how important it is. Instead, actually, Final Tribe have been the team proving to have the stronger teamwork, the more decisive plays, and although they sometimes are very decisive going into questionable plays, they're always going in together as a unit, and that has powered them through this game 1.
Yeah, something that could also affect this for Östersund is that they've been swapping out some of their players. They have not had the same roster for that long of a time. They have a new bot lane and a new jungler a month or so ago that they were picking up. So maybe not quite as well put together as they're going to be in a few weeks when it comes to the finals, should they advance that far.
Absolutely, if they can advance that far. And looking at the way they have played so far, I think definitely they could be able to. I think definitely they are strong enough to do it, but the Final Tribe have definitely put up a fight. And even though with like strange things like True Shot Barrage being able to steal Baron, I feel like, I mean, is luck considered a skill?
I'm going to go with no.
No? I think I've saw someone say differently in a movie once.
There is a famous quote from Ingmar Stenmark, you know, the old famous Swedish skier. When someone asked him about luck, he said, yeah, luck is weird. The more I practice, the more luck I get.
All right, all right. I can ride with that. So that means that the final tribe has practiced a lot then on stealing Barons with True Shot Barrage.
That could absolutely be the case.
That could be the case, definitely. But here we are in Game 2. You can see these two teams scouting out the area and making sure that no cheeky invades are going to happen. The blue buff start here for Raxi. And the red buff start for Markoon. I'm expecting Markoon to go aggressively on this Jarvan again. This is his play style, and I would not be surprised to see Markoon go for a early gank.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of early ganks, he has been running with the Predator as the keystone, which is not common at all on the Jarvan. You usually see that electrocute in the jungle for the pure burst damage. So this is going to be a rune that you want to use when you really want to chase down the enemy team, really want to be able to get at them from far away. Going to be having some weaker early game ganks, so he's looking for a fast recall to pick up those boots and then be able to get on the map. Also, some interesting things to point out is the TP on the Sivir and the heal on the Ezreal. Usually it's going to be the other way around, where the Ezreal really wants to teleport. Oh, here we go, though.
Yeah, well, this is Markoon, and Markoon will have none of this early back boot thing. He will instead go for a quick, aggressive play down bot lane, forcing Nightmare's Flash in this game too, in the early stages, but will he capitalize on it this time? Because that was something that he didn't do in game 1.
Yeah, that's actually the exact same thing that he did in game number 1. Took 2 camps, then went bottom lane together with Shred right there. Did use the flash. Oh, Christ is kicking extremely low
Christ! And he flashes with the auto attack in the air. That is the solo kill now by Vaser, making sure to give payback for last game.
That feels so friggin' bad, man. Flashing with the auto in the air. Oh my god, I can feel sorry for Christ already. And Waystar, he's just saying that he wants revenge after the bad performance. I'm almost going to call it a terrible performance in game number 1. He's starting game 2 off in a completely different fashion.
Absolutely. Looking at this now, Vaser on his Urgot, I think was completely underestimated by Christ, who felt like he could get away with playing the same style that he did in game 1. Not going to happen this time, but again coming up in mid lane, Denzel forcing to flash immediately, not going to get knocked up in the air. Markoon chasing under the turret, not going to be able to finish it off together with Adept though.
Hate to be that guy, but I'm like 95% sure that would have been a kill if you're running Electrocute on the Jarvan. Since that gives you that extra burst damage. Running with the Predator instead basically means that he's playing without a keystone before his first recall for those boots. So Markoon, yeah, not really working out too well with a heavy ganking style, but on the other hand, he's burned 2 flashes, but he's also had his teammate use the flash on both those ganks. So when you compare the amount of flashes that's used, of course actually used 4 of them if you count the one at the top side, while TFT's only been using 2 of them when Markoon has been the one ganking.
No, it's true actually, that's very true. So, well, Ostersunds FK, they have to think about how they use their summoner spells, as now it's up to Raxi. He was spotted though on a ward, so he's gonna stand on top of this. I think he has noticed that they know he's there. He's just gonna back off again, but Raxi is kind of jungler that is very happy just farming it up. And although he's just slightly behind in CS in comparison with Markoon, I think he's quite happy with this on this Sejuani with the playstyle that he has.
Absolutely, he's going to be farming for that level 6 and then look to put on some pressure when the Glacial Prison is unlocked. And he has 2 solo lanes where he would love to do just that, with Adept and Crazy both missing the flashes, and with Denzel in particular having extremely good ganking setup with that ultimate, the Nether Grasp. So really looking forward to Denzel and Raxi working together to put pressure on Adept before Adept gets that Quicksilver Sash. So this is a big timing window where they can make a lot of things happen around mid from the point that they have the ultimate until the QSS is there for Adept. He's gonna have to play so careful.
I am quite worried though about Ostersunds FK, because last game they put so many eggs in the top lane basket. They like put so much strength in that single lane, and now losing out. Here comes the gank in mid lane though, as Dincel has been rooted. He is shooted, he is shot, and he is hit until he goes down. So that is finally the ganking by Marcoon paying off in the mid lane, using those flashes that he burned earlier.
Yeah, jungling 101, go to the lane that doesn't have a flash, also showing that the Predator Jarvan works out quite well right there, just runs up to him with the Predator Boots, and then there's not much that Dincel could do, even though he had the Nether grasp. So potentially, if he would have gotten under his own tower and then be able to ultimate someone under his tower, he could have gotten the return kill, but not even close right there. Good job from Marcoon, but he needs to keep the pressure up.
Absolutely, Araxian now looking towards the top lane. Kryze is taking some damage from the Ignite as Vaser wants to keep him low to have his ultimate available. You use it immediately. You can see that Kryze knows this is about to happen, trying to recall now as Raxi has been spotted on this ward, and he's actually going to be able to get away from this. Gonna lose the turret plates, but not his life.
Yeah, he does have that unstoppable onslaught to get back to the tower as well, which is one of the real strong points about this Sion. So even though there is no TP, he won't lose too many minions under this tower. And Raxi, I think, you just want to farm for that level 6 buddy, and then just punish one of these players on Ostersunds that does not have the flash.
Speaking of players who doesn't have the flash, that would only be Dincel right now, as Nightmares has his flash up again. There's a flash for flash down this bot lane, but these players are happy just farming it out against each other. Not that much is going to happen down here with the Cull on Unforgiven.
Yeah, that's a power disparity if I've ever seen one. BF Sword versus Tyr and Cull, so pretty much no combat stats whatsoever for Unforgiven, while there's a straight BF Sword for Kantos. And this is why I love this Sivir, because at this point she has so much pressure in the lane. Stays safe with that spell shield and can push the wave so extremely well with the W and the Q. But she's also a great scaling AD carry, one of the ones that deals the most damage later on, as well as providing some insane utility with that ultimate show, so she's pretty much got it all.
Absolutely. You can see Shred trying to force her away from this turret. Maybe just trying to bait a little bit, as they did not know where Marcoon was at that time. Possibly they thought Marcoon wanted to go in for a gank, as they were backing off quite quickly in that situation. But Unforgiven, yeah, absolutely cannot trade at all. Simply farming for the long game. Gonna try to stay equal with this Sivir. Did not, I think, earlier today. Did he play Ezreal earlier today?
Yeah, he did once.
Yeah, he did once. He did not have the earliest fully stacked tier in that game. And for this tier, he is going to lose his support, as Nightmares shows why Thresh is such a strong support right now.
And deja vu for Shred right there, getting hit by the Glacial Prison, as well as the Hucken goes down without even using his flash. Kill also goes over to Kanto, so that's pretty much the perfect situation for TFT. And Raxi, I think he is impressing me a lot right now. And why, like, how can he be impressing me when he's not really doing too much? Well, that's why he's impressing me, because he's not supposed to do too much. You've got a good scaling comp, you just want to farm for level 6 in that Sejuani, then get a good gank down on someone who's vulnerable like that Alistar pre-level 6 with a Glacial Prison, give the kill over to your AD carry, and this is just what you're supposed to be doing on the Sejuani.
Oh, absolutely. So he's doing what he's supposed to. He goes down bot lane yet again, hiding in that bush, making sure the Glacial Prison hits its target, and well, that's his thing really. There's something that we should start looking out for watching Raxia play this Sejuani. It's his favorite play style. On the other hand, Marcoon has been trying to gank. He got that one kill off in the mid lane, but from that point, he has been sort of backing up a little bit, not being as aggressive anymore. He has, though, his Predator off cooldown on the boots, so he can decide to go for something down this bot lane, for example.
Here you go with the Realm Warp.
Flash coming in, teleport being used instantly. That's a double teleport. Are they going to turn this around? Yes, they are. The flash forward is going to catch, adapt, and turn this around to a kill for that big investment. Although that is the flash, that is 2 teleports. down bot lane, so they're gonna need to get some more from this. Although Raxi up top lane also getting this Rift Herald, so a great rotation right here.
Yeah, Crysis actually interrupted the TP from Wazer, which I'm not so sure that he wanted to do. Speaking of Wazer and Crysis though.
Yeah, there it goes. That's what happens when you try to 1v1 versus Wazer, already falling behind on this Scion. This is the second solo kill pick up by Wazer, together with the 3 turret platings up top, starting to look like a very scary Urgot.
And at some other point in this, I think it was yesterday, oh sorry, on Tuesday, I talked about the fact that if you're able to make plays on several spots on the map early on in the game, that shows that you're doing extremely well, that you're very far ahead, and that is just what the final tribe is doing right now. They've been getting first blood tower mid, 3 platings and solo kills up top, kills down in the bottom lane, as well as picking up the Rift Herald. These guys have pretty much done it all so far.
Yeah, absolutely, and also showing how much potential they have as a team with these rotations. Using all of this early game gold, they have to increase the lead even further. Right now up 3k gold, 11 minutes in. For last game, Ostersunds FK were unable to close the game, and they were the ones that had the early game lead. They were the ones that wanted to finish the game quicker with the Lee Sin, and now facing TFT in the on the back foot. Are they going to be able to turn this around in a similar fashion that happened to them in game 1?
They're gonna start here with the gank towards Denzel, who does not have his flash.
Adept moving forward, but can't get past the Cataclysm, still chasing down Denzel. Denzel, like you said, does not have ultimate, does not have a flash, and Adept will be able to pick that one up, although Marcoon took a lot of damage in that fight. You can see Adept sort of struggling to get close enough to actually do something. Up top lane, Christ being ganked yet again, duking back and forth. Not going to be a turret dive versus this big Scion, but still a scary situation to be in.
Yeah, these guys are just looking for the tower plates right there, forcing Crysis back. They could have gotten some of those plates, which gives you a lot of gold. Not going to be doing too much there, though, because you were not able to land that charge, the disdain from Urgot. But they're pretty happy with farming up. They want to get to that first item power spike on the Malzahar and the Sivir, and then be able to force the sort of team fights. And they've got so many ways of doing so. On the hunt, getting used on Sejuani, on Urgot, on Thresh. There's so many ways of engaging. And then the Malzahar follow-up while Sivir is just dishing out the AoE damage. I love this team when it comes to the mid-game fights. I think if it goes really late, shown to have a really good shot at being able to contest that, but in the mid-game, TFT has to be really happy with what they've been able to cook up here in the draft.
Absolutely, in TFT, might be in a little bit of trouble down here. They do not have the vision on Marcoon. Nightmares is going to be the main focus, although Marcoon misses his flag and drag combination. Teleport arriving, Adept down bottom, gonna walk straight into the death sentence using the quick sash immediately. Not going to be enough, and simply just walking in front of Nightmares. I'm not quite sure what Adept was thinking in that situation, not even respecting it enough to try to flash away from the death sentence. Top turret's gonna fall, Adept dead down bot lane, means there's not much more that AFK can do.
That was, yeah, I'm gonna say that's the worst use of a summoner spell in the Nordic Championship so far.
Up top lane also, here comes the dive. Crysis simply stays under the turret. Urgot's gonna go golden, and here comes Marcoon as well. He's gonna try to dodge to the best of his abilities. He's gonna use actually the zombie to fight this out. Is he gonna be able to do it? Yes, he is, with some help of his friend Shred, who just arrives at the nick of time to help Marcoon pick up that kill. Still, top turret taking some damage for that in a 3-for-1 situation. Not too bad though for Ostersunds FK.
Yeah, of course, keeping up quite well at this point compared to what I was thinking that they were going to do. Actually, Unforgiven with a CS lead, Adept with a CS lead, and Crysis not falling that far behind 2 and 3 on the sign at this point, even though he lost a tower. So overall, the 3k goal difference, not too bad news for them.
Not the best timing on the death sentence, not gonna hit anything as Crysis arrives a second after. It's in the air, so he's going to save this bot lane turret. In the mid lane, Adept pushing in just a little bit, and Ostersunds FK starting to look a little less shaky right now. Seems to have calmed their nerves with those 3 kills up top lane.
They got their items though. This is a 2-item Urgot. Kanta's got Static Shiv. Denzel's got Loot and Secco. this is a point where they would love to fight, and I think that's what they're going to try to do around this dragon. Group up, have the on the hunt to be able to engage at any point that you want to. I think Ostersund just needs to give these objectives up. They don't want to fight the final tribe at this point in the game.
No, I do not think so either. They're gonna sacrifice this dragon. Do not want to dare to fight it. It's a cloud dragon though, so it's not the worst thing for them, but versus a Sivir, it's not the best thing either. She already has so much mobility, gonna add on even more to that. But right now, since FK are doing what they're supposed to do, they're just avoiding these fights, trying to scale up these 2-tier champions.
Yeah, as I've talked about, they do have some pretty decent scaling right now, so as long as they can stay defensive, gonna be in a good position. QSS tax has been paid by Adept, but none of the other players on the team. I think that's a very, very good choice. You don't want to be building a QSS this early up unless you're going into the lane versus Denzel. And frankly, he's not been looking too strong in this series overall. Yes, he's been able to click R and QWQ on the Cillian, and yeah, he's kind of clearing waves on the Malzahar, but he's not playing the mechanically challenging champions. He's not been able to get a lead in any of the games, and this is a guy I remember as like a Pantheon main, as a LeBlanc player, as someone who wanted to put down a lot of pressure, but he's just been doing like the least that's required of him so far in this series.
Yeah, absolutely, but as a team it has been working out for them, so I agree with you, and Adept has been the much more mechanical player, but Adept was also forced to go for the Quicksilver Sash as the second item this game. Just got the tier, got the Quicksilver Sash, so obviously he is worried about Denzel and his synergy with the rest of his team, but I agree, like, I am kind of expecting to see more mechanically challenging champions from Denzel later into this tournament, and I'm not quite sure as why they as a team have decided to go for this play style.
I think the champions that he's been picking have been making a lot of sense in the team comps though, so I mean, Malzahar here works out really well. Cillian was really good into the LeBlanc, and it was even banned away in this game, so can't criticize him too much. Just think that he's not been able to make too many things happen. Speaking of making things happen though, this is still a point in the game where the final tribe, I think they want to fight. I think they are in a good position to be able to force something to happen with that Sion ultimate. You can see Cryzib actually using that unstoppable onslaught to get away from the 1v1 with Waysor. This is how strong this Urgot is.
Yeah, absolutely. Waysor with a long lane is something that Cryzib do not want to face. So Waysor can do almost whatever he wants right now in this side lane. On the other side of the map, there is Adept pushing in the top side. You can see Marcoon also around there, gonna play around his mid laner for this time around. Nightmares and Kantos looking for Unforgiven. But like we said, the game has slowed down quite a bit, which is something that I think Ostersunds FK are very happy with. Well, of course, as I say that, here comes the fight down bot lane. It's going to force a flash from Kryze.
Yeah, forcing both flash and ulti off this Sion, and here comes the big rotation. This is going to be the tower taking a bunch of damage. Do of course have the TP on the Denzel, so can be 5 people in the bottom lane at any time should they want to. And that's a Penske Wolf still isn't able to kill it.
Yeah, absolutely. That Wolf did not want to die. Kantos almost has his 2 items. Will have his Infinite Edge very soon, so he's going to look a little bit scary on that Sivir, while Unforgiven, of course, with his fully stacked Muramana right now, together with the Iceborne Gauntlet, not too shabby either with this Cull build that he has opted to go for these past 2 games. It's been working out for him fairly well in the sense that he is keeping up in items, but has not been able to do anything else on the map. He's fallen behind a little bit in the CS and fallen behind a bit in the gold department as well.
Yeah, falling behind a little bit, but he's still starting to stack his second tier 19 minutes in, and that's definitely not something that you need to be ashamed of as an Ezreal player. So do you still think that Unforgiven is doing what he's supposed to so
Absolutely.
far? Hug your towers, be careful. You need to stay safe around this point, and that's what they are doing. It's up to TFT to make something happen, and look in the top left corner, 15 seconds towards that Baron. It's not like they have a team that can just walk up to the Baron and kill it immediately, but that's definitely a point that you can like force the vision wars around, make the Baron dance happen, and then as soon as Ostersund missteps just a little bit, that's going to be the go button for the On the Hunt, for the Thresh and Sejuani and all the engage and follow-up engage that they've got going on the team.
Also, Waysor has his teleport right now. Kryze does not, so Kryze is moving towards the mid lane. Waysor has a huge amount of pushing power. The same goes for Kantos and Denzel, so they are shoving these waves, setting up for the Baron.
Absolutely. I think Denzel might... Yeah, I thought that Ostersunds was almost going to be looking for the dive there as they move towards the top side, but of course not something that you want to be doing at this point in the game. Wazers pushing up the bottom side. Are they going to be looking for some sort of a fight once that bottom lane is pushed up, since Christ is already down here? It's a bit difficult into the Sion though, because you can always use that ultimate to join a fight from far away.
Yeah, absolutely. Almost as his teleport as well now, so he's going to be able to just stay under this turret and keep the wave pushed. So he's going to do his best right now to just stop Vaser. Vaser is moving back. He's going to stay out of vision. The dragon is going to be the objective of choice for now, as it's a free dragon here for the final tribe. Going to pick up another cloud dragon. Going to be able to move even quicker over the map. Up top lane, Adept taking some harass. Getting this turret gold. They are quite far behind right now, but not in a decisive position, as TFT aren't doing that much with the lead that they have.
Yeah, they've not really been able to. The split push that they've got going, Ostersund has been able to respond to that really well, I think. Their lane assignments have been on point this game. They've had the Predator Jarvan being able to walk in between the lanes really quickly, and they've not been losing a lot of towers. Unforgiven forced to flash away, though, and finally, for TFT, they're going to be able to get a tower, but they really had to work hard for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Popping that turret and Cell teleporting in to make sure that nothing bad happens to the rest of his team. Raxi took quite a bit of damage during that siege as well. Now eyeing the bot lane turret, so they are not going to put down as much pressure on the Baron as I expected them to do at this point.
Yeah, it is still up for sure, but as I said, not the greatest Baron taking team. No Mountain Dragon on either side here. The next one is going to be Infernal, but that is quite a ways away right now, so... Not too much that they can actually do as long as Ostersund stays safe. They do have a lot of disengage in the forms of the Alistar, and the escape abilities of this Ezreal is going to be so slippery. And that second tier is starting to stack up quite fast for Unforgiven. He's going to be becoming a major player in this game. And if this game goes late enough, that Ryze, that Ezreal, that Alistar, they're going to be really providing a strong team fighting team.
Yeah, absolutely. Kantos is almost on 3 items. He has a lot of farm, has been donated most of the gold for his team. Unforgiven, same thing on his side. Up 241 CS, 263 for Kantos. And now Ostersunds FK pushing in. You can see Kantos is up about 1.8k gold on Unforgiven. So otherwise it's fairly equal in the mid lane, and up top lane though there's a huge gold lead for Visor as well.
So this is quite a commitment from AFK. They're pushing out quite far, but they do have very strong vision. I think Shred is doing a great job right now on this Alistar. He's roaming around in the jungle, really providing a lot of safety for his members in the top lane, and that is one of the big strengths of the Alistar, because you have that unbreakable will, that ultimate that gives you a lot of ability to get away from any sticky situations that you're going to be ending up in. You can position more aggressively with the boots of mobility, with the mobility from your W as well. You can really stay far up in the enemy jungle, provide a lot of vision for your team, and Alistar, just one of the strongest champions in the support role at the moment, without a doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. Vaser now toggling his Ignite for his teleport instead down bot lane. He's going to make sure he has teleport available for now. Okay. Vision control about to be established by the final tribe.
Candace now finishing the Essence Reaver, so this is a big power spike for the Sivir with the 3 items, getting a lot of crit at the moment on that champion right now, sitting on 75% crit chance. So definitely something to keep an eye out for, and there isn't really a lot of armor on Earth. Of course, this Sion's been able to stack some amount of armor, but other than that, we're pretty much looking at a squishy lineup except for the Alistar ultimate. Even this Jarvan's gonna go for the Black Cleaver now after the Warrior enchantment, so no sort of big tanks on the side of except for the Sion, which I think means that Countess can disregard the Last Whisper right now and build even more pure damage, which is going to mean that this Sivir is going to be a huge late game threat.
Yeah, absolutely. Sivir having all of that crit, having all of that mobility will be a very difficult champion to handle for Ostersunds FK, as both teams are farming up for the next power item. Still, the ward control has gone over to the blue side now as TFT has set that up. Playing around the bot lane now as Raxi is sticking around bot. Looking for something to do with Pricey. The Baron has been sneakily started.
Rice ulti into the back of the Baron, so sneaky.
Yeah, it has been spotted though, so are they going to go for this? They still are. Teleport coming in from both sides. Baron is so low right now. Who is going to get it? Going to sacrifice one first, but Vaser has slayed Marcoon, and the Baron... it's gone over to OFK.
Yeah, Adept got the Baron somehow.
Adept managed to take it. I was a little bit worried there for a second. Couldn't see that little purple, those purple markings around the champions. But okay, Ostersunds FK, they got it, but they lost so much while they did it. They're gonna lose this inhibitor as well, even with the Baron empowered minions. So I'm not quite sure who got out on top of that situation.
I think it's still pretty good for Ostersund because they've got Baron and I believe 3 members after that, or is it only 2 members? But still, they've gotten the Baron off the map, and I think that's an important factor because now there is not that big objective for the final tribe to try to force a fight around, and with Inferno Dragon off the table as well, Ostersund can just turtle. They've bought themselves several more minutes. Unless they make some sort of aggressive misstep somehow, they're going to be able to stall this game for even longer thanks to this Baron buff.
Yeah, absolutely. And they have been stalling for a long time now. Still behind in gold, around 5k at this point. But the Baron gold as well, of course, going to be so important for them right now as they are struggling to handle the pressure of TFT.
Yeah, for sure, and they are gonna be executing some sort of a split push here with Adept off in the silent because it's Adept and Unforgiven right now with the Baron buffs. For AFK, you can see that, oh, Christ actually has one as well, so there was the 3 Baron buffs, and this is the great. I think these are the best 3 members to have the Baron buff on because it's so easy to execute a 1-3-1 right now with Ryze and Sion off in the silence buffing those Baron buffing those minions, but Christ might be caught out here.
Christ is definitely caught out. Flash coming out is going to block his escape path, and Christ was so far up in that lane. Decided to push it, but look at the top side. Adept is there together with Marcoon pushing down the inhibitor, forcing the recalls now. The True Shot Barrage is going to break also the recalling animations for TFT, allowing the team actually to get this inhibitor for free. Well, almost for free. They had to sacrifice Christ for it, though.
Yeah, that is going to be providing so much pressure for AFK, and it's so important that it's the top lane as well, because now they can split push in the bottom lane, and as well don't have to commit anyone to the top lane, because that's where you have the super minions. That is really big for AFK. They are able to stall this game even further, and I gotta say that is some smart, decisive play. I said that TFT were the smarter team, and I think that's probably still holding true, but Ostersund are showing that they are definitely not stupid at all.
No, absolutely not. Ostersunds FK, I was questioning quite a bit Christ being that far up in the lane. I'm not sure if he was expecting to get surrounded like that, but in the end his sacrifice was not in vain. And it has allowed a very important inhibitor up on the top side to be broken, as it's more difficult to handle an inhibitor in a side lane than it is to handle a broken inhibitor in the mid lane of the map.
Yeah, for sure, since mid lane is the closer one to the other lanes by definition, so it's very easy to get over there. Looking a bit more towards the items and the next fights that we are looking for, you've got to say that last game was all about the mid laners. Was Adept going to be able to get in on the LeBlanc, and was then still going to be able to stop him on the Cillian? This time, the fight's going to be all around the AD carries. Look for Kantas and Unforgiven here. Triple items completed for Unforgiven, like 3.5 items with a double tiered, fully stacked. The Seraph's Embrace is now in its inventory, and 4 items as well as a stopwatch for Sivir, who's now pushing the go button.
Yeah, absolutely. Here they go. Gonna force the backwards ultimate from Christ. Gonna break open this inhibitor, and they're all going to get it fairly quickly. Might be a turnaround here. Predator has been used. Instant Quicksilver Sash by Adept. Stay alive from that death sentence. Shred moving in from the side is also going to use his Unbreakable going forward. gets the big knock up, but turning this around is Denzel using his ultimate immediately with the unstoppable, breaking through all of this front line. The double kill for Cantos, chasing forward even more. Christ has gone down. The sole survivor is unforgiven, and on this SWE, he can't really do anything. Looking at the damage that he can deal on the Urgot, it's not enough. Instead now, he's just trying to slay these minions, but he's not enough to do it. Teleport coming in, turrets going down. That was the final decisive fight, and it is TFT going home tonight, or staying home tonight, with 2-0 versus AFK.
What a performance from TFT. I was really impressed by them in the last fight. I spoke about the AD carries and while Unforgiven threw out a couple of Qs from really far away. Countess was DPSing through all that fight, but I gotta say, the unsung hero steps up in the last fight. Denzel on the Malzahar as Marcoon comes in on the Jarvan, looks for the big follow-up engage. Denzel just says, no, ultimate right on top of you, as the Jarvan was throwing down the EQ combo, was interrupted in the middle of that, not able to do anything. Really well played from Denzel.
Absolutely, Denzel did exactly what he was supposed to do, and a game that was 90% completely controlled by the final tribe, just waiting for the spikes, waiting to get into that position where they could go for the fight. And the interesting thing is that so many defensive abilities was used by Ostersunds FK just to stay in that fight. The death sentence landing on Adept, immediately Quicksilver Sash coming in, another CC landing onto Shred. He has to use his ultimate instantly to go and get the Pulverize, but there is nothing there to help him. No follow-up. As you said, Marcoon tries to get in with a Cataclysm and immediately gets Nether Grasp. There aren't really anything they could do. Unforgiven just had to stay back, like trying to get a few Qs off from time to time to try to stay relevant somehow.
Yeah, I think the split push was the big way for them that they could take home this game, being able to have Sion and Ryze in the side lanes, and then with the Baron buff as well, I think that was the big window of opportunity where they had to take a decisive lead, and that's exactly where Christ gets caught out. I mean, the man that we've been praising so much for Sion performances earlier on, now gets solo killed, dies multiple times, then it's just overextended for no reason, when the point in the game, of course, should have the lead with a Baron buff.
Yeah, absolutely. And they managed to sneak that Baron. Like, they got away with it, losing 2 men. They lost the inhibitor. Then they do a sneaky play up top lane. They managed to get the inhibitor there. And then somehow from all of that, it's like Final Tribe saying, okay, we've had enough of this dancing. We're simply just going to break through. And they get this huge fight up top lane. They force the inhibitor. Then they force the fight. And that was that. That was the game.
Yeah, I think I like the comp that they had with the Sivir. I mean, it's just sort of a standard run at your comp, easy to execute. You've got a lot of hard CC and then the Sivir ultimate and the Sivir damage as well. Like one of the biggest hyper carries in the game at the moment. Had 4 items in that last fight. Didn't even have to use the stopwatch that he had picked up. So really gotta say that I liked what TFT had been doing, and right now they are 3-1 in the Nordic Championship. So they are looking to be a top team. Ostersund now 2-2, sort of middle of the pack so far, but there's still a long way to go.
Absolutely, a long way to go indeed. We will be back tomorrow with more games and the final day for this week 1. And with that, we say thank you to you for watching and have a continued good night.